Yeah, I was gonna say, Marty, the point that you made about doing work for free, I feel like that's something a lot of people don't realize is a thing, and there's no shame in it because I also do stuff just to build my portfolio and to kind of just build credibility in
For
the
sure.
marketplace that I'm in. And I think there should be more transparency around that because I think as creatives, like especially in like ministry and in like the Christian world, there are budgets, there are, you know, it's cost of living crisis here in the UK. I don't know about the US, but things are hard right now. Yeah, everywhere. And I just think that sometimes you have to kind of like give things in order to just kind of build a reputation and build credibility, if that makes sense.
That's how it goes. That makes perfect
Yeah.
sense. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's something that I would be interested in hearing more about. I mean, for me, working in like, so I've kind of like transitioned out of journalism. So I have a skill set and now I'm trying to figure out how does that look outside of journalism. So I have a lot of editorial skills, social media skills, strategy, stuff like that, copywriting. So now I'm trying to figure out what does that look like in like a charity setting, in like a like non-profit environment, ministry environment. So like I've had to take like a pay cut. I've had to like kind of figure out and transition into like a new industry with the same skills. So it doesn't translate the same way that it did in journalism. So I feel like there's some stuff that I'm figuring out right now. And I'm just like, you know, sometimes you have to go with that process and it takes time. And yeah, I don't know. I just think that's something that I appreciate that you said because there's not transparency around that, I think.
I think at this point in all of when it comes to social media, I don't think anyone really knows. I think people get almost like they understand the algorithm a little bit better, and then they use that information. But because the industry is constantly changing, you need to stay updated and privy to exactly what's happening, which could definitely feel overwhelming, but it's not, because in every marketplace, there's going to be an evolving marketplace, right? So hip hop, the market is evolving. The books I read on social media 10 years ago, they're not relevant now because the market's constantly evolving. And so the only time you really have to put yourself out there, in my opinion, is when you are in a creative setting. That's like for something that you do, Hannah, like you're putting yourself out there. I'm a journalist. I can interview. I am, I can create. I can assist. I can champion others. Like that is hard to put on paper, right? Mm-hmm. And you have to show people, hey, like this is what I could do, and I'm good at what I do. And so even in music, a lot of when in 2020, I probably worked on 20 songs, but out of 20 songs, maybe only 5 came out. That's what's crazy about the industry. And so even now, like I see music as real estate, right? Every song I work on it has its own life, and sometimes they do very well. Like I did a song with this kid from India, and he paid me the fee to be on the song, and the song was really awesome. I'm happy I was a part of it. But this kid is hustling his butt off. Like this kid's on the radio. All of his songs have millions of views. Like someone who I invest in like that is worth it, right? Because I know they're going to work it. They're not just relying on a Marty feature. I have a lot of times I do, for the most part, the songs I work on, I'm not even on the song. I'm just writing the song, which is a lot easier for me. But I think about, I've written songs for others and they have done nothing to promote it. So there also is something to say about somebody who sees the value and understands that hard work will always pay off. And for some people, they think it just will happen. And then I look at their numbers and they have 5,000 monthly listeners. I'm like, you didn't know what you're getting into. You might have had the money, you didn't have the skill set for that. Because I just did a couple features for some guys, and I like them, but they don't work on their marketing. And so, you get what you pay. I guess you get what you put in. And everything I've done for free, I've been paid for. I know it sounds crazy to even say, but everything you do for free, you will get paid for. Absolutely. Eventually will get paid for. And so I would say whether you're a creative or a music, like you're going to have to put yourself out there, or you're going to have to create the brand for yourself and whatever that looks like. But I think it's not enough for you just to be like, yeah, I want to be in social media. You have to have a plan. Like, what do you want to be known for? Yeah. If you know where you want to go, then when people start feeding you offers, you could figure out, like, does this work for me? Does this not work for me, et cetera?
Mm-hmm. And I think the other thing that should be said is that not everyone is going to be a content creator. Not everyone will go viral. You could have the most amazing content, but sometimes it doesn't work. And I think that's the thing is like so many people pursue this now because I'm just going to say it, but I feel like my generation specifically are quite thirsty for the platform. But there's a certain amount of actual like business ops and strategic thinking that goes into it. It's not just, oh, I'm just going to make an edit on Canva and now I'm a social media manager, or I'm going to get a Google certification and now I'm a marketing manager. And I feel like that's a narrative that's fed so much through like specifically like TikTok and like businesses and like being a freelancer and being self-employed and people. Oh, and the other thing that is really annoying to me, I'm just going to go for it, is this like entrepreneurial lifestyle. Like it's not easy to be freelance. It's not easy to be self-employed. There's a certain amount of responsibility that you have to take as an individual. You have to file your taxes. You have to make sure you save money. You have to make sure there's work coming in to cover your expenses. Like there are so many things that people don't talk about and people just look at the highs of it. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with doing a 9 to 5. There is nothing wrong with, it's not for everyone. And it's, you have to really love what you do to withstand and to actually stay in it. Because there have been so many times I've wanted to give up and have felt like giving up, and I cry my tears and I keep moving because the thing that I care about is putting content out that matters and just the things that, I don't know, resonate with me and that I feel God has called me to do. And I think your why has to be big enough. Otherwise, when the poo hits the fan, as they say, you are not going to be able to, I don't know, just withstand because you don't have a plan in place and you don't have the passion to get you to the other side of it. So, yeah.
When it comes down to social media, the idea that also like you're going to go viral is beyond me. Some people are like, we'll just go viral. Like I was talking to, we hired a guy to travel with us on the road. His name is Steven Ruiz. He's great. And he was like, so what do you want to create? We had me and him had a long conversation. I was like, well, I want this done. I want that done. So he was like, all right, I'll start thinking. And not once was I like, I just want to go viral. And he's like, you're one of the first people to ever tell me you didn't want to go viral. Like you don't care about going viral. And I was like, cause being viral is not, it's like that's not the save all of my business. Number one, people go viral every day. It doesn't mean that it helps them like money wise, right? And that's number one. But number two, like you could go bad viral. That's what people don't talk about.
You
for
know,
sure.
And the other thing that I'll say that I was just thinking about of what you said was like that doesn't mean that it's not okay to evolve and grow and change as a content creator or as an artist, because you naturally change and progress over time, and you would hope that your audience would kind of move with you because they buy into you the person, not and is you as a brand, not the thing, if that makes sense. So I think that's like the thing about like authenticity is like being real with where you're at and then just being like, yeah, I'm evolving, and then people buy into who you are versus what you do. And I think that's the biggest difference. That's like something that people don't really talk about.
If we still had the same fan, like the same Social Club fan that when I was 23 and I was or 24 when we started the band, and like if I had the same story, like how boring would that be? If I had the same flow, if I had the same type of artistry, people would be like, you're a one-trick pony. You, even as an artist, you need to evolve your style. You need to be able to not always just lean on your comfort level. Because it's hard. It's hard to put yourself out there. It really is. And that's what people don't talk about. There's a lot of fear in putting yourself out there and being like, hey, like my fan no longer, like, I don't think that our fans, I think that some of them would love some funny stuff, and who doesn't? Like I love being funny on songs, and I think that my lyrics, I could definitely attribute that. But like there are certain things I do that I can't do anymore because I'm no longer a single man. I'm no longer just a jokester. Like now I have something to say, and God's matured me. Like I even think about Tyler, the Creator. When he first came out, Tyler was very jokey. I mean, he ate a roach. It was like fart jokes. And now as he's evolved his brand, he looks cool. You trust what he has to say. You trust the music and what he has to do. So all of that connects to, building a brand that matters.
Fern, do you have anything that you want to add to the conversation about maybe like how your artistry has evolved?
Yeah, just
over, the last
just growth as far as like me getting older as well. My kids getting older. Like my daughter's 11. When I started with Marty and Social Club, she was about to be born. You know what I'm saying? She was on our first. She was in our first, actual little CD cover. One of our first mixtapes. She was on the cover. So it's crazy to see her now, almost as tall as me, and my son playing baseball now, and just seeing life. The last 10 years went by way too fast. The last 10 years flew by. But as far as making music, it's always a beautiful thing when you actually sit down to, craft the record and you start to put your thought process into it. But yeah, just definitely looking forward to even making newer music now, because I got some different techniques I want to try that I never did, that I've been talking to other people and just constantly wanting to do stuff and no longer want to make any kind of excuses. I want to give a lot of my fans, a lot of people always hit me up. They want to hear music. They want to hear Fern. They want Social Club to keep doing stuff, and you just got to give them what they want, unless you want to quit. If you're done and you're done with it, you could sit down and you could just wrap it up. But I still got a few things I want to say. So, I got to get out of my comfort zone. I'm one of those guilty ones. I like to stay there sometimes. But, for the most part, I'm blessed. Like, God literally gave me a gift. So whenever I really put the work in, he gives us some beautiful works of art that we've been able to put out to you guys. But as far as moving forward, I definitely see myself, especially with all the new technology that's coming to us at 100 miles an hour. I mean, I've never seen it come this fast. I've never seen so much tech. I mean, we've been doing it forever, but the way that technology just changes from day to night is insane. So I look forward to, just implementing some of these new technologies, as well as just, trying different things, especially in the recording process and actually in the writing process. So, always trying new stuff, never staying complacent, because staying complacent is going to leave you stuck right where you are. So if you want to move forward, you got to just, bundle up. It's going to get cold out there, but you got to bundle up and you got to keep your thick skin on. You got to keep going.
I would never want to do anything else but what I'm doing now. I love being a part of Social Club. I love creating music. And unfortunately, we don't live in a world where I can just create music and then just live life. It just does not exist like that. You have to be able to market. You have to be artists that come out today, they have to know what they're doing. Because you can't just make good music and then just live. It just doesn't work like that.
Those days are gone. Those days are long gone.
They're gone. And to think that you can is really just it's wrong. It's just it's a bad mentality. You have to be able to communicate your story, and you have to be able to rap. You have to be able to produce now. You have to be able to help engineer, mix, master, know what you want. You have to be able to create merch. You have to be able to there are about 40. It's almost like working at a church. When you, as a kid, you work at a church and your dad's like, well, I need you to do 4 things. All right, well, my parents were never pastors or anything like that. But when I worked at a church, I got saved, I worked at a church. I was like, I'm youth pastor. I'm also giving announcements. I'm also doing graphics. I'm also calling for fundraisers. And like you do 6 or 7 jobs. You just continually do it. I'm in the office now. I'm doing this. All those things matter. You can't just do one thing anymore. You have to, or if you are so good at that one thing, you need to have people around you who are good at the other things.
Get a good team around you. That's the only second way to do it.
That's the only way to do it. There's no other way around this. There's just no other way. You just are who you are. I think this is the social media episode. And so, I hope that this has helped some people. I hope that people can hear this and understand that, you can do it. There's the only excuse you have is you, if you say you can't do it, you won't do it. I really believe that that's an old quote. If you say you can't do it, you'll never be able to do it. You have to be, and you have to do it. It's not, I wouldn't even say it's about doing it quick. It's about doing it right.
Rick Ross said that. He said, I don't want to move fast. I want to move correctly. And it's true, man. But one thing I'll say is one of the main excuses that I hear when it comes to this kind of topic, when it comes to, social media and how it's moving so fast and things, is how cluttered so-and-so genre is, or this, or the field I'm trying to get is so cluttered and this and that. But one thing I'd like to say about that is, you got to let your work speak for yourself. And I'm going to tell you, as long as your work is good, if your work is good, I don't care how cluttered the marketplace is. If your work is good, your people are going to find you. The people you need, your community, if you're doing your thing and you're building your brand correctly or, pushing all the narratives that you need to do to push your brand right, it's going to happen for you because the quality is going to speak for itself. So just keep pushing. I know it's cluttered out there, especially in the music. We're in the music. It's cluttered. It's a crazy space. But you know what? There's room for everybody. There's room for everybody to eat. There's plenty for everybody. So as long as the work is good, everybody's going to eat. Everybody.
Yeah. There's a lot of great artists out there. Like a lot. Like me and I feel like me and Fern will be on social media. Like, hey, you heard this guy? Yeah, he's blowing up. Oh my gosh, it's huge. And then They just don't. At this point, like I used to say this phrase a lot of social club stuff. I'd say, if it's good enough, they'll find it. I used to believe that. I don't believe that anymore. Now it's it's like there's somebody who's willing to do a backflip into chocolate pudding and show his song off, and doesn't mean that you have to be crazy.
I feel like just something that kind of rounds off both of your points is like knowing your voice and knowing what you want to say and what is it about you that makes you different. And I think that thing about having the niche and knowing your voice is the thing that makes you distinctive and makes you stand out. So I think it's like a mix of knowing what you want to say, knowing who you are, and then being consistent. And I think those three things, and then also being willing to like evolve, I think those are kind of like the main things. And it's like one thing, it's almost like a domino effect. You have one thing and then you have the next thing, and all of it together makes it successful. It's not just like one thing.
I think that it's funny because like there's a lot of different conversations happening. And at one point, me and Fern, we would really watch Gary Vee. Like, he was the guy. But now even Gary Vee, like, it's evolving differently.
Because he got so many Gary Vee babies that he spun off in the last 7 years. That's the craziest thing, man.
Well, you know what I would love to know? Because, I mean, like, think about that. The market now is no longer singular.
I remember
there's 40 different guys like him who are really good, too. They're
but
not
remember
bad.
when, like, watching Gary Vee, like, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I didn't remember seeing all these other guys that I liked, too. And now, like, he was like literally for a minute, even though there were coaches around, obviously there was always your Tony Robbins, all your big gurus. But I'm saying like we've really seen we've actually witnessed a generation of gurus be birthed from Gary Vee.
100%.
I can't believe it, bro, how many there are.
Who are the guys right now that you see on social media that you're like, this person is doing it? They're really good right now.
So some little top three, to be honest with you, like I got this one. They're all like baseball because my son, man, he started playing baseball, which I'm super excited about. So they're like a lot of baseball accounts, like Dinger Bros, and it's just like middle infielders. Who else? Anyway, for the Abe Parker's here. I ain't gonna lie, he's right here. And just for the most part, cat pages too, cat lovers, cat dads. Ironically enough, I don't follow that much on Instagram, man. I've been kind of on the low, but It's either like, high spoken good speakers like Myron Golden. I got a guy here named Myron Golden I've been following for a second. There's just positive people who, they're coaches and stuff like that. There's another one, Indicted TV. They tell a lot of prison stories. Shout out to them. They tell a lot of crazy prison stories, people who, spend a lot of time in the crazy, like Angola and all these crazy prisons. And then I like to follow a lot of like nutritional guys. So like, shout out to all my alkaline guys here, Grub Annie, freaking Alkaline Jungle Boy. Shout out to all these medical guys I like to follow too, who have like a nice little balance of thought, so I could rock with them too, like Dave Asprey, Dr. Amen, and I like healthy stuff. I like to follow stuff like that. Cats, health, and baseball.
Okay, so mine's a little bit like it's a little bit mishmash basically, but I'm gonna give you three different people. So there's this guy called Munya. He's a UK based content creator, and he basically makes like spoof content of like different political situations that are happening in the UK, and he does actually, but people love this guy, and he's like so funny, and he's just done really well to kind of build his niche. And when there's a crisis in the headlines, people will flock to his page to see what his opinion is, because we all need some comedic relief in these troubling times. And then there's this guy that I found on TikTok called Bobby Chandler. He's a pastor, and he just posts like little snippets from his church, and they're pretty good. So he's pretty like inspirational, motivational, if you want to kind of call that, but it's backed up with scripture. And then also Northwest, Kim and North on TikTok. She is single-handedly carrying that family and keeping them relevant at this point.
Here's the fun part, right? So like now all three of us know like what we're looking at. All those three things speak into our lives. Fern, you have a cat, baseball, health. For you, it's going to be political commentary. It's going to be godly things. And then it's going to be pop culture. For me, it's going to be music. It's going to be entertainment. It's going to be pop culture. Like those three things speak into our brands. And so I even like us talking about it really does matter, because what you see, what you engage with, it really speaks about your brand. in general. Like what, it's a reflection of you. So like Fern, it's a reflection of you, your health. You're always in a health. You're always been in a baseball. Even before I met you, Fern would see people and be like, you play shortstop. And the guy's like, how do you know? He's like, your arms, like, and this is the last thing I'll say here. And then we'll have Fern wrap it up. But one thing I would say, and this is how I'd love to end the show, is make sure that things that are bringing you down, things that are making you sad, things that are making you, like killing the energy that's inside of you, you need to also unfollow those things. Because a lot of people, they'll talk about, you need to do this, you need to do this on social media. A lot of times I could see certain creators and it kind of kills me. It kind of makes me feel like I'm not good enough, or it makes me feel like they're so overwhelmingly good that I can never get there.
I agree.
I definitely had to unfollow a lot of things this year, or coming into this year, especially because, especially creatively, you just want to be able to have a clean slate, not be worrying about, I don't feel like you don't have to see anything. You could see whatever you want and be subjective to you, how you interpret it and how you digest it when you go to record it, when you go to create. But, as far as me, I just wanted to just kind of detox, kind of like mental detox a little bit. I want to be able to keep my mind as focused as I can, because I have obligations. I have songs that I have to do. I have things that I have to write, and I don't have any time to get depressed. Once you realize what your why is, then a lot of things become a lot easier when you realize this is why I'm doing it. Here's your boy Fern from Social Club Misfits once again, and you're tuned into the Social Club Misfits podcast, episode 3. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.